welcome back to the channel. So today I have my deck profile for Therion P.U.N.K. I placed 19th place at the San Antonio Regional. There's like 220 plus people and it was top 32. And I was playing P.U.N.K Therion, absolutely love the deck. I think no complaints, bricked maybe once or twice throughout the entire event. So I guess we'll start off with the hand traps. Got 3 Ash Blossom. It's just the best card in the game. There's literally, it stops and interacts with every single deck. Alone, it's not always the best, but sometimes it can be just the thing you need to stop them. 2 Veilers, ulti first ed, also OG first ed, Ashes. Veiler is for the P.U.N.K ruler. And it's just super interactive for a lot of things, as well as Celine to get into access code. We have the 1 Ghost Ogre. It is not ulti, but it's the OG first ed, which I think is higher rarity, personal opinion. It's for the E-Telly. It can also help you get into your level 10 or level 11 synchro monsters. And then the Imperm, because it's like Veiler, but also for the cross-out targets, because we are playing, also 2 droplets, and this card was literally so good. If I was going second, I could activate a card, and if they attempted to negate, I could send said card, plus maybe like another card, like a Therion card. There's a lot of times I send a Therion monster off, just so I can get them in grave. Best card, Saki, Called by the Grave 1, Called by the Grave 2, and Called by the Grave 3. Came up once or twice where I had to cross out Designator their Ash because it was the only thing they had, but it was the only play that I have left. I had to go through. Also good in the mirror. I did not play any mirrors today, unfortunately, or fortunately. I was play testing with this as well as 2 Triple Tactics talents, but I found this to be a little bit more effective and useful. So for the Therion stuff, we have 3 of the Endless Aggro system. You got 3 of the Field Spell and 2 Charge. Initially I was only playing, I know a lot of lists play 3, but you don't want to see more than 2 in hand. When I was playing 1, I never saw it enough, and 2 was just perfect. Because sometimes you just have the Therion cards and monsters in hand, and you need to get them out. The 1 of Jet Synchron, it's for the needle fiber play. I was not playing it, but shoutouts to Jeremy. After playtesting him, I realized that having this in the deck guarantees you a hot red off the needle fiber. For the P.U.N.K stuff, you have 1 of the Fusion, 3 of the Z-Amin, 2 Ogre, 1 Deer Note, and 3 Foxy Tune. MVP was probably, I don't know, this is like your great starter. Also, like, this card is like super sick. No one stopped it, and I was able to get the fusion from deck and then free summons every single time. The only time, so a lot of lists are playing 3 of the Ogre Dance, but I realized, at least for me, I wanted to cut down the deck as much as possible, and Ogre Dance really just gets you into one of the other 2 or the Deer Note. You really want to see Foxy Tune because it helps you get everything on board in order to get P.U.N.K ruler, because P.U.N.K ruler is like the #1 thing you go into. One game I did brick, unfortunately. I had 3 of these, all 3 Foxy Tunes, 1 Jet Synchron, and the Therion Trap. And they had Ash, and I literally couldn't do anything, and I had to sit and cried. Best card in the game right now, undoubtedly, is 3 E-Tellys. Shoutouts to Heroes and Fantasies. Sold me the set for like 70 bucks, I think, and they're like 30s each. So, appreciate that. 1 Therion P.U.N.K, or Cross. This card is so good. A lot of times people forget that it's set. They also just, they read it when you pick it up, or they'll be like, okay, And then if you do have the aggro system engrave, it also banishes as part of the effect, and that's super helpful. It came up quite often where adding this off the Lily was more than enough to have like 3 or 4 interactions, and they just couldn't out it. So 2 Regulus, you don't ever want to see 3. 2 is more than plenty. 3 Lily helps you add everything you need from the extra deck or from the main deck, whether you need the field spell, the draw 2, or the endless, or the trap card, and then 1 of each. 1 Reaper, 1 Bull, and 1 Duke. Duke is great because it's a light. You can add it off of the Pega ruler. And then the protection effect is really nice because then you're not afraid of like Lightning Storm or Raigeki. Reaper came up quite a bit, being able to target one of your spell trap cards that are Therion, I think it is. Yeah, 1 Therion card in your spell trap zone, and then bounce one of their cards, forces interaction. And then Bull is really useful because on your turn, it's a free pop, and then you can destroy and clear. My round 7 was against Virtual World, where I nibbed him and the token was like almost 8,000 attack and defense, but I actually hard drew into Bull, normal Bull, or special Bull, targeting whatever, popped it, and then was able to attack for game. So that was really great. Next up, we have the extra deck. So we'll go start with the links. We have Asa, Starlight, shout out to Jeremy, Celine, Access Code, and Holly Firebrax. This card is so broken, it makes sense that why they put it to 1. Celine is so good. Going second, you Needle Fiber, Special Veiler, go into Celine, you'll always have more than 3, or also your opponent will probably have some, and then Access Code. And that's 2 free pops, so super useful. Asa came up twice, both times never actually used the effect to summon because I didn't play the mirror, so that was kind of unfortunate, but it helped me out against the Sky Striker match under Mystic Mine. For the fusion, we have the 1. It helps you get out the Deer Note and the Xiamen. It's really great. For the Exceeds, we have 1 Melier, 1 Zeus, 138, and 1 Zombie Vampire. Was playing number 90, but then my buddy Richard had the Melier, so I was like, fuck it, let me throw it in there. Did not come up once, useless, we'll probably replace it with an IP. I'm sure there is a situation where it could be useful, but I never ran into that issue. Zeus was great. It's like a win more card, or like after you do stuff and you can't kill, it forces an interaction. This came up against the Striker player, as well as a Despia branded player. And then Zombie Vampire was pretty MVP for me. Every time I went into it, which was at least once a match, not only was I able to get an extra body on board, I knew exactly what my opponent was playing, and so it helped me know what to go into or what to stop. Next up, we have the 2 11s, the Psychic End Punisher, and the Amazing Punk Dragon. This came up because you'll always have 2 engrave of different types to bounce, so you can return, and then you're able to special summon one of your own punk monsters, so that's really nice. One time I did actually use this effect. They had Griffin on board, no one plays that card. Completely forgot that monsters have to be pointing to a link monster to activate, so it fizzled out, and then I had to go into battle phase, kill it, and then do the other stuff. Big mistake. Psychic End Punisher is also great. You literally pay life for everything, and then it has its own effect where you lose life in order to destroy a card, which is really nice, and then it gains attack and is unaffected by activated effects. Super broken. The Pega Ruler, pretty much you go into this every single game. If you don't go into this, I have no idea what you're doing. The mills don't matter too much. It's really nice if you hit the Ogre, Veiler, or the Foxy Tune, or the Ghost or Orgadance, because it's more cards in hand. But it's really used to get that extra body on board, and then rank 8 into the Zombie Vampire, or rank 8 into like Hope Harbinger, and then ultimately you use Jet Synchron to go into Hot Red. Hot Red was just so good. Formula Synchron, and then 1 Baron. Draw 1 off of Halifibrax, and then if you have another level 8 on the board, you just quick Synchro, and then you make Baron on their turn. So last off, we have the extra deck, or the side deck. Unfortunately, I did not see my side cards very often, although the 2 times I did see it, it won me the game. 1 Tops for pretty much everything. If I'm like brain dead and I don't know what I want to put in, I always put on Tops. Great against Traps, great against Despia. It forces an interaction. 2 token collectors for the Swordsoul matchup. I threw it in there, and that was actually one of my losses. I just never saw it. 2 Nibiru's, and a misprinted Nibiru because we're bougie. So good against Virtual World and Salad and a bunch of other combo decks, or Summon a Lot decks. 2 Ulti Drolls, good against the Mirror as well as the Despia branded matchup. Doesn't really do too much against Swordsoul, but overall it came up because against the Despia branded matchups that I played today, because they tried a Guardian Chimera and then they realized they couldn't, because you have to draw in order to do everything else. 3 Dimension Barrier, because we hate Despia branded. Stop Swordsoul, and stop like the mirror as well. It actually came up against Drytrons too, so I waited and waited, negated stuff, waited until they had 2 Drytrons on board, and I negated their Zeta, so I knew they didn't have the ritual spell, and I just called X's and they scooped. Back row hate, 2 Cosmic, 2 Twin. This is to avoid the Heavenly. This is because pop 2 plus we like to discard, and then the 1 red reboot. So before I close out, just have a couple shout outs. Shout outs to 254, shout outs to Philip for driving us there and getting us the hotel. Shout out to Richard and Jeremy and Bryson for a lot of playtesting. And shout out to Black Box Gaming. Peace out.